Hi there, this is Kevin from MaximizingEcommerce.com. I help people start and grow e-commerce businesses. In this video, I'm going to show you many of the great ways that you can make sales by utilizing some of the existing e-commerce channels out there. So first off, I want to talk about one of the easiest ones to go with, which of course is your own website. Now, if you don't have your own website started, it's pretty simple. You just need something to sell, which of course is kind of a given. You need a domain, which a domain would be www.yourstore.com. And that is simply the address of your website. So just as a brick and mortar store might be located at 123 Main Street in Poughkeepsie, New York, maybe your virtual store is located at www.bestacmewidgets.com or whatever the case is. And so what you're also going to need is some place to host that. So hosting would be more the equivalent of like the real estate. So maybe you have a brick and mortar store at that address, tells people to go to a strip mall, and you have the third unit in from the right. Well, that's kind of what hosting is. It's basically where all the website itself is stored. So the address tells the computers where to go look, and then hosting is where they go to find your website. Then you would need a way to take the payment. So somebody says, yes, I would like that widget. And they click on it. It's the price they want. They put in their credit card. There has to be some method of making that happen. And then, of course, a method of fulfillment, which could be as simply, in the beginning, you with a box and some tape and just putting it in the mail. But there's lots of different ways to fulfill orders. You can hire other companies to do them for you. There's lots of different ways, which we can go into, of course, in another video. Now, one of the best ways to start your own website, rather than hiring a programmer to take HTML code from scratch, would be to get a shopping cart platform. A lot of them are kind of already made for you. You can just do some tweaking. Some of them you can do very little tweaking, just basically upload photos and descriptions, and they're pretty much ready to go. Now, one, of course, which is very well known, is Shopify. I like Shopify. I personally use Shopify. They got different levels of plans. If you're going to have a website and take payments, I mean, you could as low as $29 a month, which is pretty good for starting your own website. BigCommerce is another good one. Magento, Squarespace. A lot of these are basically, you just pick what they call a theme, which is what you want it to look like. You can always hire developers to do something more, but especially starting out, a lot of times they have really great themes out of the box, and you just customize it with, your copy, which is your wording and descriptions, and then, of course, adding your pictures and things of that nature. You can have a pretty customized website that looks nice, relatively inexpensive, and like I said, it's pretty much already done for you. Now, another one is called WooCommerce. Now, WooCommerce is kind of already done for you. One of the things is it sits on what's called WordPress, which is more of a blogging platform. It's the most customizable of all of these. But the only thing I don't like about the fact that it's so customizable is it's so easy to get caught up in the put this here, change this there, and keep making all these little tweaks, which may or may not actually make any real value to people purchasing. But if you like customizable, they would be a good one. And then there's Wix, and MaximizingEcommerce.com actually sits on Wix. So I do like Wix. I just don't use it for e-commerce purposes. But all these are all good options for a shopping cart platform. Now, in addition to having your own websites, you can also put your products out there on marketplaces. And a lot of people like to buy things on marketplaces. A lot of marketplaces are places people don't even realize that they're buying from third-party sellers. So let's talk about some of these major marketplaces, which essentially are just virtual versions of a mall sometimes, because basically people are just going and buying products. So let's start with the biggest. And the biggest, of course, is Amazon. And Amazon is very easy to get up and running on. It's pretty much, if you have a product and it's not something that's going to be a liability in the sense it might hurt someone, and it's not illegal, it's probably going to be okay to sell on Amazon. I mean, they have, of course, some restrictions here and there, but for the most part, it's pretty wide open as far as who can sell on Amazon, what type of products you can sell on Amazon. And then in Amazon world, they've got what they're going to refer to as 11 different marketplaces. So the 11 different marketplaces serve 11 different countries, which would be like the US, Canada, Mexico, UK, Germany, France, Italy, Spain, China, and Japan, and India. Now that might make your head spin like, oh my gosh, what do I have to do all those? You don't. I personally am on 4 of the marketplaces, and you could just sell on Amazon.com in the US and be fine. And it's a great place to at least just get started. And if you want to start getting your feet wet in other countries, you can do them one at a time. You don't have to do all of them, but they're just another channels to sell your products. Then there's some other major marketplaces that you've probably heard of, such as eBay. eBay used to be the big juggernaut in e-commerce. It used to be kind of more of an auction site. You can still do auctions on eBay, but you can also just sell a product at a set price. Lots of people still look on eBay. I would say that for the most part, eBay has a different audience than Amazon. So you're not cannibalizing sales on Amazon by putting a product on eBay, and it's relatively simple to do it. And just like Amazon, it's pretty open. eBay, once you start selling more, they kind of give you more privileges of how many listings you can have and things of that nature. But it's great to at least get started on them. Walmart is not quite as open as the other platforms, and a lot of people would be very surprised to know that there's third-party sellers on Amazon, let alone on Walmart. Now, Walmart, it's not like Amazon, where Amazon, about half of their sales comes from third-party sellers that sell on their platform. Walmart started off saying, well, you know what, we want more products in our catalog portfolio, so the best way to do that is to bring in third-party sellers, and they've been a whole lot more limited in bringing on third-party sellers. They're opening up more and more as time goes on, but it's definitely not as simple as getting into Amazon. It's more an advanced, once you've kind of got a foothold and some traction going, that you might want to look into Walmart. Then there's Etsy, which some products might work for Etsy. It's a relatively open platform, but not necessarily as well. Let me say this. It's an open platform as far as who can sell on Etsy, but it is not necessarily an open platform as far as what type of products would sell. More type of handmade things would work on there. Seems like Etsy's getting away from the handmade part as much as they used to be. There's some products that, maybe private label or wholesale even might do well on Etsy. But they're definitely another great marketplace to look into, especially if you have the right product for that audience. Then there's some other marketplaces that you might not have heard of. One is called Jet. Jet actually was acquired for over $1 billion when they were only in business for about a year and a half from, I almost said Amazon, from Walmart, that is. Walmart purchased Jet for about $1 billion because Walmart's really trying to get into the e-commerce space. They're seeing that's the future of the retail business, and there's only so much they can grow building brick and mortar stores, but there's a lot of opportunity to grow online, and that was one of their plays they made to combat Amazon, was to acquire Jet.com. Sears.com. Now, Sears you wouldn't picture as being a marketplace, but they do sell with third-party sellers. It's one I've got on my list to look into as we get closer to the holidays. Last year, they had actually cut off, when I was looking into selling at Sears around the holidays, they had actually cut off third-party sellers. So it is an option out there, and it is probably surprising to a lot of people that Sears.com would sell third-party sellers. And, they're still hanging around. And I think they're trying to realize, or they are realizing, that their long-term success is going to be making more and more of a play online, because the model of people drive to malls to go purchase things is starting to go away. Then there's Wish.com, which is a smaller marketplace than Jet or Sears, but I think I've seen valuations of this one close to $1 billion. It's definitely a an emerging player, I should say. Fancy, I don't know as much about Fancy, but it's one that I've started dabbling with a little bit here and there. Not one that you're going to get rich off of, like Amazon, you might, but Fancy, any additional sales you make are always a good thing. Then there's Newegg, and Newegg is really more for if you have a technology-based product. If your product is not technology, it's probably not the right thing for Newegg. Rakuten, I've heard it pronounced a few different ways. It is kind of like a Japanese Amazon, which is starting to make its way out towards the Western Hemisphere. And then, of course, if you're in like a Amazon.jp for Japan, that could be another play that you could fulfill orders to both websites. But the more marketplaces you have, even if you thought of it as Amazon was going to be the bulk of your sales, even if you were on other marketplaces and they represented an additional 30-40%, that's a good thing, because that's 30-40% sales that you probably wouldn't have made, because a lot of these marketplaces kind of have their own built-in audiences, because people don't necessarily go to all the different marketplaces. People tend to go to one. So Amazon shoppers tend to be very loyal to Amazon. Jet shoppers are probably pretty loyal to Jet. I mean, of course, there's exceptions and whatnot, but marketplaces are great ways to open doors, especially when you're first starting out. So at the end of the day, there's lots of different opportunities. So if you are looking to get involved in e-commerce, or if you're looking to grow your own store, the best thing to do is just pick some channel and get started. Now, if you're starting out, here's my suggestion. You could either probably go the route of your own website, or you could go the route of selling on Amazon. I think those are probably the two best routes, especially when you first start out. Now, if you don't have your own built-in audience and email list of people that would purchase from you, I would probably put more weight, especially first starting out on Amazon, just because, there's lots of people going on Amazon. The rates as far as, the commissions you pay to Amazon, and if you do fulfillment by Amazon, it's very, very, very cost effective. And I think the pricing that they charge their sellers is pretty fair. So don't get overwhelmed with all the different opportunities, and I'm sure you can probably think of a lot more different sales channels that I haven't even mentioned here, but I just want to throw out quite a few, at least get your mind going that there's lots of different ways to make money as an e-commerce seller. In fact, if you want, you can leave a comment down below of if you think there's any major marketplaces or channels that I missed. And like when we start getting into your own website, you could start talking about, how you drive traffic to your website, because those are all kinds of different sales channels. So wanted to at least spur the creative juices as far as all the different ways that you could sell a product online. So more than anything, I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, love it if you could click the little thumbs up button down below, as well as subscribe to this channel, so that way we can keep you up to speed the next time we upload another video. And if you have any questions or any feedback, please feel free to leave it in the comments section down below. I try to read as many of them as possible, and also try to respond to as many of them as I possibly can. And if you're looking for exclusive tips and resources, please go over to www.maximizingecommerce.com. You can sign up for our emailing list, and we'll shoot you over some tips and all kinds of different ways of helping you grow your e-commerce business, or at least help you get started, whatever it is you are in your e-commerce journey. So more than anything, just want to say thank you for making it all the way to the end of this video, and you have a great day.